spine. We've already talked about it on this show, but what do you think of the gameplay?
We did already talk about it. So, guys, if you guys did not see that episode, this game looked really, really cool, and I think we both gave it pretty glowing reviews of just general excitement about the game and what it's being touted at is kind of a John Wick style gung fu third person kind of action adventure game. Has a little bit of a cyberpunk feel to it, but yeah, the combat looked really, really cool. Obviously, I'm a huge John Wick fan. So anything John Wick is right up my alley. And then we got to look at the combat. And I don't know how you feel, Adam, but
We'll definitely talk about it, but here we'll pull up the trailer real quick too, so we can kind of talk about it as we see it here.
spoiler alert, guys, I am far less excited.
I think there's aspects that are pretty cool about it, but a lot of aspects that, yes, are very underwhelming. I don't want to say bad, but underwhelming. Would you agree? So if you're just listening, it has a lot of feel of like kind of like Arkham series, like that kind of combat. Arkham
Yeah.
and Spider-Man.
Yeah, so if you're just listening, their kind of gameplay trailer, so to speak, is really just one kind of rooftop action sequence
Yeah.
where we're getting a look at a lot of the combat animations.
Yeah.
And just right off the rip, I think the biggest problem that I'm seeing with this right now is just how slow it is.
Yep, that's gonna be one of my biggest things. Like one of my takeaways from watching this gameplay trailer.
Yeah. Because if you take a look at like the John Wick Gung Fu, right? It is insanely fast. It's
Yeah.
insanely fast. Like the amount of movements that that's happening in a John Wick movie. It's like it is literally just nonstop shooting all over the place, and like this just feels so meticulously slow to the point where like I feel like I'm gonna get bored with this combat system really, really, really soon.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was gonna go with it. So, like I said, it has feel of, or it definitely took inspiration of like Arkham series, Spider-Man games, and combats like that. But like you said, it plays slow, and for a gun fu John Wick style, it doesn't really work. Other than that, I think they flow well. You know what I mean? Like they look smooth. It's just very slow, and I know exactly what you're saying with that. And I like some of the animations, like the one where she punches him, steals a shotgun, shoots him in the face. Like that's kind of cool. Or the one where she kicks him over the edge of the building. I think that's pretty cool. So I mean, they look cool. It just doesn't have the speed you would think it would have in a game like this.
Yeah, and I think you probably hit the nail right on the head there in saying that those are animations, right? So they look cool. The scene where she's kicking the shotgun and it flips around and stuff like that. She's doing a cartwheel over the guy's arm, taking him to the ground, getting the shot in, right? Okay, visually it looks cool, but I mean realistically, you're talking about all of that happening from you doing like maybe one or two button taps, and that's where it starts getting kind of boring to me because I don't want to be relentlessly I love a game that has like meticulous combat systems. I don't want to just be sitting there with a button masher just smashing square like crazy, but I also want to like give the game more of my input than just like, okay, I'm gonna take down six dudes and I maybe hit like nine buttons to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to hit the buttons more.
Yeah, you don't want to mash it, but you want to feel meticulous in the moves you're doing. And like when you dodge, like hit square a couple more times, a punch, 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 then an animation, dodge again, punch, 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 kick, like a bunch of stuff like that, rather than, okay, let's hit square, square, animation. This guy's knocked down, he's dead, shoot him in the face. Like, I think, like you said, it's gonna get repetitive and kind of boring after a while if it feels like this. And the fact, like, I know it's pretty early in development in terms of like they can add a lot more to it, but like I felt like there wasn't enough enemies in that sequence either. You know what I mean? Like I felt like they were all spread apart. Like I didn't feel like a John Wick where there's so many like, oh, I gotta turn around, punch this guy, punch this guy, punch this guy. Like I felt like it was very lackluster in the amount of enemies that are around her. And I was like, I don't know.
Two things on that point is number one, again, the animations. It's like, how many animations could they possibly program into this combat system? Like, is there a chance that in that in that gameplay trailer that we just saw, did we just see every single animation that is in that game? So like the shotgun, the kick to the shotgun is really really cool, but is it really really cool the 60th time that you see it? No, it's not. Like it loses it. And then number 2, you talked about how it just kind of felt empty. And I think, like you said, they were really going for that Arkham style, like Spider-Man style combat system. And that combat system works because you're constantly in situations where you're being surrounded by like 8 or 9 people. So that type of combat situation where you're being meticulous, it works because you're bouncing around to all these different enemies. And you really need that time to kind of make it work in your head. You need to know, like, okay, I'm going to bounce to this guy. I'm going to bounce to this guy. When there's 2 people on the screen, you don't need that time. You know what I mean? It's like it's just weird. Like the idea is cool, the execution is lacking, I think is for better words.
I think again what this developer did. Do you know the name of the developer? It's like Niki or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Niki.
sneaky.
And I think what again when they say innovative or game changing, that's where it kind of they set themselves up for failure in a way. And I think with this mechanic, because that's what they said. They said innovative combat. It seems like a dumbed down version of Arkham and Spider-Man. And what works with, like you said, with Arkham is the amount of people and the way you balance and like you're bouncing off of everybody, dodging, flipping over, and it's so fast and so cool. And that's why that game was so fun back in the day.
Arkham does it great because, like we said, the amount of enemies, it is a meticulous system, but it's a meticulous system to the point where, like, it's because it has to be. I mean, it is still slow taps, but your character is never not moving. You know what I mean? And this just it just feels like exactly like what you said. It feels like a dumbed down version of Arkham.
I know they have time because this game's coming out in 2025, so maybe they'll see the comments and the feedback and say, okay, we got to speed things up, we got to add more enemies. But one other thing that I think the design of the levels look pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like the setting's really neat. Um, and that although it makes me wonder, it's not open world, I don't think.
It looks and feels very linear. And like I love me a linear title. Don't get me wrong, I love a linear title, but it feels like a linear title that's almost so compact that, like, you know what I mean? Like if you are just constantly walking through these levels and you can see like the boundaries, like you can't go any further left and right every single time. Like there's no need to kind of stray off the path. I think that's it's not good from, like I said, I love linear games. Make a linear game, that's fine, but I still want some level of exploration.
Yeah, space around it where you don't, where you feel like you don't have to, like you don't see the edge of the map on both sides you're playing. And I think that's what this game, I feel like you can see everything. And yes, it's fun to look at, but there's, like you said, there's not much to explore. It really reminds me of, do you ever play the Deadpool game?
Yeah,
It seems like that Deadpool, like the way you kind of flow through it, even like the game, like the shooting mechanic reminds me. It's like Deadpool a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah.
And so like it was always linear, like you push through, but I felt like Deadpool had a bit more space on either side of the game.
I don't know, like I don't want to talk badly about it because I was super hyped on it. I mean, if you go back and watch our original Spine episode, like I was like jaw dropped, like super super excited for it, and then this trailer dropped, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
That's where these developers get you with these cinematic trailers that, and we talked about it in that episode. It's like, yes, this is a cinematic trailer, but if they can make it look like anywhere close to that, I'm gonna be super excited because those cinematics are really cool. And the thing with the cinematics in this, so they promise like that movie feel. I felt like the angles, like they didn't zoom into like, oh, we're gonna do like an action sequence of like John Wick kicking this dude in the face. I feel like if they were gonna do that, they should have zoomed into their face getting like shot, or you know what I mean. Like I felt like they didn't have that dramatic effect of the gameplay.
I mean, like, I think you hit the nail on the head. There's no cinematic feel to this gameplay anymore. And I mean, that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be that way, but in a slow, meticulous combat system like this, where you're really focusing less on the actual button inputs and more on just like this string of, animations, like I want some cinematic work in that. You know what I mean? Like I want to see this. Like I want to see the animation where it's like a slow mo punch, and you hear like the jaw crack, or like something like that. Like it needs to have that cinematic cool stuff in it, or else it's gonna get boring real fast.
And one other thing I didn't really like, and this is just me being nitpicky, the AI voice, I feel like it's gonna get kind of like overused, and like even like that short amount in the trailer, like he what do you have, like 5 lines, like make sure your weapons don't get wet, or make sure, or oh we have company. Like I feel like that's gonna get so repetitive, and like I didn't really like the voice, so
Yeah, it's the modern day um Ocarina of Time Navi. It's just gonna be a meme of like an annoying thing that you just don't want in the game.
but other than that, like I still like the aesthetics of the game. Like I still think it looks really fun. It has that cyberpunk feel, and the whole idea is still really cool. And I think they have time to read comments of their and give feedback to really make change. Um, and kind of how like we are talking about how it might get repetitive. So on their web page, it's like it said slash shoot repeat. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna feel very repetitive as we play this game. So
Yeah, just replace slash and shoot with rinse and you're good.
we'll see. It's got time to kind of bring us back and wow us a little bit, but that's why we do this, to kind of get our initial thoughts, and those thoughts change. So that's kind of where we're at with Spine right now. It's got a sideways, more downwards for me now. It used to have a straight up and down. So
Guys, I mean, let us know down in the comments what you think. Maybe we're being a little bit too nitpicky. Let us know what you think about the combat system, if you're kind of on board. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they fix it. Hopefully, because this, like I said, this isn't just our opinion. I've read a couple comments and people have said the exact same things, where it's just like this feels really slow and clunky. So they do have some time to fix it. Hopefully they fix it, because again, the idea is really cool. But we've seen it time and time again. The idea can be really cool, but if the execution isn't there, it doesn't matter.